Thousands of Gautrain commuters could be stranded from tomorrow. The National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa has served the company operating the rail and bus services with a notice to strike as wage negotiations deadlocked. Numsa spokesperson Phakamile Hlubi is with us now for more on this. A very good evening to you, Phakamile. Thanks very much for your time. The strike is supposed to start tomorrow. How many workers are involved and in what areas of the Gautrain operations?
Good morning, and not good morning, good evening, and good evening to your listeners. Vuyo, thank you so much for having me on your show. Yes, Numsa members are going on strike at the Gautrain. We are the only union that has organizational rights and has the right to negotiate on behalf of workers at Gautrain. We represent the majority of workers. If I'm not mistaken, it's more than 400, if I recall, from the last meeting. I could be wrong on the numbers, but we definitely represent most workers. And the thing is that our members range across the board in terms of Gautrain operations. We have workers who are train drivers. We have workers in the ticketing stations. We have members in maintenance. We have members in offices. So this strike is likely to disrupt because our members exist in all aspects of Gautrain operations.
Well, they have just issued a statement. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a rather terse one. But it says the Bombela operating company wishes to assure Gautrain passengers that Gautrain services will not be disrupted by the planned strike by its employees affiliated to Numsa. The BOC has implemented contingency plans to ensure that Gautrain customers are not adversely affected by the planned strike.
Well, that is their right. It's not the first time employers have done that. I would say that's standard procedure. But it doesn't take away from the fact that we are participating and our members are going on strike tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And unions usually take a dim view of those who will cross the picket line. What is your attitude towards those who will not be participating?
Well, those who don't wish to participate, we don't compel people to participate in strikes. We are a law-abiding trade union. All we've done is simply to do the right thing, the responsible thing, which is to alert the public to the fact that we will be embarking on a strike tomorrow, and that members of the public should possibly make contingency plans. And we have done so. And of course, we do understand that it might be an inconvenience, but unfortunately, strikes by their very nature are meant to be disruptive. It is unfortunate that we are here. We're here because the employer does not want to negotiate meaningfully. We did not have to resort to strike action, but unfortunately, this is the situation, and our members have had no choice but to take action.
I want us to talk a bit about your core demands, and I want to group them if you don't mind. The first set is 13% increase across the board, medical aid contribution of 60% by the company, and a housing allowance of 2,000 rands per employee per month. 13% increase across the board, some people would say that's way above inflation.
Well, if you've been following our strikes, we do always ask for above inflation increases, and we often do secure above inflation increases. Last year, we secured 8% increase at Gautrain. So, and earlier this year, we secured above inflation increases in other sectors. So, and as a union, we've always believed that workers deserve a living wage. We've always believed that increases should match the lifestyle of ordinary workers. We have a situation in this country where we've got a growing population of the working poor, where employers don't make any real meaningful steps to try and ensure that workers are able to earn a living wage. The wages in South Africa, unfortunately, are very low, especially if you look at the national minimum wage. The national minimum wage is far, far, far below just the general cost of living. It currently is way below the standard food price, the food basket price. The average cost of a basket of food is over 5,000 Rand, and the national minimum wage is way below that. So we don't make apologies for the kind of demands that we make. We make demands in line with the conditions of our members. And right now, our members have demanded a meaningful increase. So in terms of wages, they are demanding a 13% increase. They are also demanding an increase in the housing allowance. And one of the burning issues that members have raised is the fact that Gautrain is perfectly happy to reward itself and its management with generous bonuses, guaranteed bonuses, when it is ordinary workers that are responsible for the operations of the train, and yet it does not actually feel the need to share and pass on those guaranteed bonuses to blue collar workers. Blue collar workers are penalized if the train is late, or if for whatever reason there are delays in the operations. Blue collar workers don't get a bonus, but the white collar workers get a guaranteed bonus regardless of how the train performs. So we think that's grossly unfair. And as I said, it's unfortunate that the management wouldn't even engage in a meaningful way on this issue. We could have prevented the strike altogether.
Now, you say in your statement that the company has become hostile to the union, and it has led to management unilaterally withdrawing the recognition agreement that Numsa had with the company. How would you describe relations between Numsa and the management of the management?
Well, unfortunately, at the moment, the management we're dealing with is a very stubborn management. It's a management that is inflexible. It's a management whose actions have, in our view, actually provoked the strike. They've not actually come up with any kind of. So, for example, in terms of the demands that we've made, their response has simply been to say that they're offering about 5.65 increase. And that's it. They've not spoken to the other demands. And for us, that does not reflect an attitude of an employer who is engaging meaningfully. This is not an attitude of employer that is actually trying to prevent strike action. In our view, this is an employer who is provoking strike action. We do think that there's ways that we can find each other somewhere in the middle. But unfortunately, the attitude of the employers at the Bombela operating company has not been one of cooperation and one of actually trying to find a meaningful compromise that would settle this dispute without us having to resort to strike action.
Phakamile Hlubi-Majola, let's leave it there for tonight. Thanks very much for your time. She's the spokesperson for the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa. The union warning the public that services at the Gautrain may be interrupted due to that strike that starts tomorrow morning. The company has, of course, just issued a very short statement that says commuters shouldn't worry, as contingency measures will be in place and services won't be interrupted.